Hello and welcome back to this session on the CIS controls. In this lesson we will continue on to Control 8, Audit Log Management, and the 12 safeguards within this control. Control 8 focuses on the collection, management and analysis of audit logs to detect, understand and respond to security incidents. Logs provide detailed records of system, network and user activities which are critical for forensic investigations, compliance and threat detection. This control includes 1. Enabling logging on systems, applications and network devices. 2. Centralizing log collection. 3. Protecting logs from unauthorized access or tampering. 4. Regularly reviewing logs for suspicious activity. 5. Integrating log data into alerting and response systems. Why is this important? 1. Audit logs are essential for detecting malicious behavior and policy violations. 2. They support incident response by providing a timeline of events. 3. They help organizations meet regulatory and compliance requirements, for example, HIPAA, PCI DSS. 4. They enable proactive monitoring for threats and anomalies. 5. They provide visibility into user actions, system changes, and network traffic. Without proper log management, organizations risk missing early signs of attacks, experiencing delayed response times, and failing audits or investigations. Let's start learning about each of these safeguards within Control 8. Safeguard 8.1. Establish and maintain an audit log management process. Comes under the Govern Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The safeguard requires organizations to create and maintain a documented process for managing audit logs across their environment. The process should outline how logs are collected, stored, protected, reviewed, and retained. It must also define roles, responsibilities, and procedures for using logs in incident detection and response. The audit log management process should cover 1. What logs to collect, for example, system, network, application, user activity. 2. Where logs are stored and how long they are retained for. 3. How they are monitored and reviewed. 4. Who is responsible for managing and acting on log data? Why is the safeguard important? 1. It ensures consistent and complete logging across all systems. 2. Enables faster detection and investigation of security incidents. 3. Supports regulatory compliance and audit readiness. 4. Protects logs from tampering or loss, maintaining integrity. 5. Provides a foundation for correlation, threat hunting, and forensic analysis. Without a formal process, organizations may have gaps in visibility, incomplete data during investigations, or fail to meet compliance obligations. Possible tools to help include an audit log management policy. This defines the scope, purpose, and requirements for generating, storing, securing, and retaining audit logs. An example audit log management policy template is provided in the link from CIS Security. Log standards and guidelines. This is technical documentation that details what events must be logged, from which systems, and in what format. There's an ISMS or Information Security Management System policy generator link included within the slide for your reference. Log retention schedule specifies how long different types of logs must be retained based on legal, regulatory, and business needs. Access control policy ensures that access to audit logs is restricted to authorized personnel and is monitored. Incident response plan explains how audit logs are used during the detection, investigation, and resolution of security events or incidents. Roles and responsibilities matrix, or RACI, clearly defines who is responsible for log collection, review, escalation, and maintenance. System configuration baselines includes standard logging settings for operating system, applications, firewalls, and network devices. Safeguard 8.2, collect audit logs, comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. Safeguard requires organizations to enable and actively collect audit logs from systems, applications, and network devices. These logs should capture security-relevant events such as login attempts, account changes, file access, and administrative actions. Why is this safeguard important? 1. Supports threat detection. Audit logs are essential for identifying unusual or suspicious activities such as unauthorized access attempts or malware behavior. 2. Enables incident response and forensics. Without audit logs, organizations cannot reconstruct events during a breach or security incident. 3. Regulatory compliance. Most security and privacy frameworks, for example ISO 27001, GDPR or HIPAA, require logging of key security events. 4. Accountability and transparency. Logs provide a clear record of who did what, when, and how, helping enforce internal controls and user accountability. 5. Reduces dwell time. Faster detection leads to quicker mitigation of security threats before major damage occurs. Example events to log include user logins and logouts, failed login attempts, file or system changes, privilege escalation or admin activity, and network connections and firewall rule changes. Possible tools to help include Event Viewer, which is built in for Windows, or Windows Event Forwarding for centralized collection. Syslog, which is built in for Linux logging, is a standard protocol used to send system log or event messages. NXLog is a multi-platform log collector with passing and forwarding capabilities. AWS CloudTrail tracks AWS API activity and integrates with CloudWatch for alerting. Alien Vault USM, the unified security management with SIEM and log analysis features. Datadog collects and visualizes logs from cloud and on-premise systems. Greylog is an open source log aggregation with powerful search and dashboard features. Safeguard 8.3, ensure adequate audit log storage. Comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 1. The Safeguard emphasizes the importance of adequate storage for audit logs. Audit logs, which capture security events, user activities, and system behaviors, are essential for monitoring, investigation, and compliance. However, the vast amounts of data generated by audit logging can overwhelm a system if not properly stored, organized, and protected. The Safeguard ensures that organizations have sufficient storage capacity to handle the volume of audit logs, retain logs for a specified period, align with compliance requirements, for example 1 year, 3 years, etc., and ensure the integrity and availability of logs by protecting them against tampering, deletion, or unauthorized access. Why is the Safeguard important? 1. Compliance. Regulatory frameworks such as GDPR, HIPAA, and PCI DSS often require organizations to maintain logs for a certain period. 2. Incident response. In the event of a security breach or attack, audit logs are crucial for analyzing the timeline, scope, and impact. Adequate storage ensures that logs are available when needed for forensic investigation. 3. Security. Ensuring the integrity and protection of audit logs prevents attackers from erasing or tampering with logs, which could otherwise hinder detection and response to malicious activities. 4. Operational efficiency. By maintaining an efficient and scalable log storage system, organizations can ensure that logs are accessible for analysis without overburdening their systems. Key components for effective audit log storage include 1. Scalability. Systems should be able to grow with the increasing volume of logs. 2. Security. Logs should be protected from unauthorized access and tampering. 3. Retention policies. Define timelines for how long logs will be kept and when they will be archived or deleted. Possible tools to help with the Safeguard include log retention and archiving log rotation. This ensures that older logs are archived or deleted according to defined retention policies. For example, Linux log rotate, Windows group policy or event log settings. Monitoring and alerting. Provide real-time alerting, analysis, and dashboard visualization on log data storage. SCOM, Azure Monitor, Azure Storage Insights, Amazon CloudWatch, AWS Trusted Advisor are tools that can be used for this. AWS S3 Glacier or Azure Archive Storage. These ensure logs are kept for required timeframes and removes old logs securely. Safeguard 8.4. Standardized time synchronization comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. As a personal note, I think this should actually be Implementation Group 1, as it is critical to have correct time entries for logs, especially for incident response activities. This safeguard requires organizations to synchronize system clocks across all networked assets using a reliable and standardized time source, typically a Network Time Protocol, or NTP, or a secure internal time server. All systems, including servers, workstations, network devices, security appliances, etc., should use the same time reference, ensuring that timestamps and audit logs are consistent and accurate. Why is this important? 1. Accurate logging. This ensures all logs across systems align, enabling effective incident analysis. 2. Efficient correlation. This helps analysts trace events chronologically during threat investigations. 3. Compliance. This meets requirements for log integrity and standards like PCI DSS, NIST, ISO. 4. Troubleshooting. Reduces the confusion caused by mismatched timestamps across environments. 5. Digital forensics. This maintains evidentiary quality of logs during investigations or legal cases. Best practices for time synchronization include using authenticated NTP, or, for example, NTS or secure internal NTP servers. Restrict systems from using public NTP unless validated. Monitor for time drift and sync failures. Include time synchronization policies in the system build standards. Possible tools to help include Windows Time Service, or W32 Time. This is a built-in service for synchronizing time in Windows environments. This syncs with domain controllers or external NTP servers and is configurable via group policy. NTPD for Linux and Unix. It's a traditional NTP daemon and is widely used for syncing with external or internal NTP servers. Microsoft Active Directory. Domain controllers act as authoritative time sources. This ensures time sync across Windows domain joined devices. Amazon Time Sync Service. It's an AWS provided highly available NTP servers accessible from all EC2 instances in a virtual private cloud. And Azure Time Sync. Azure virtual machines sync time with Azure hosted time services. There's no need for manual NTP setup for most Azure hosted workloads. Safeguard 8.5, collect detailed audit logs, comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard requires organizations to configure detailed audit logging on enterprise assets that handle sensitive data. The goal is to capture rich, actionable event data that supports incident detection, response, and forensics. Logs should include the following: the event source and type, for example, login, file access, system change; date and timestamp, which is standardized across systems; username or account ID; source and destination IP addresses; asset name or system involved; successful or failed logins; privilege escalations; sensitive file access; configuration changes; remote access attempts; system reboots or shutdowns; and any additional context, for example, privilege level or the command that was run. Why is the safeguard important? 1. Security monitoring. This detects unauthorized access, privilege escalation, or policy violations. 2. Forensic investigation. This enables detailed incident reconstruction on who did what, where, and when. 3. Regulatory compliance. This helps meet requirements from PCI DSS, HIPAA, ISO 27001 and others. 4. Operational visibility. This provides insight into system performance and administrative activity. 5. Risk reduction. This helps reduce attacks by enabling early detection and response. Best practices include the following: enable audit logging on servers, endpoints, cloud platforms, and critical apps. Ensure log formats are consistent and machine readable, for example, JSON or syslog format. Use a centralized log collection, for example, SIEM tools, to avoid data loss or tampering. And regularly review and tune log configurations to capture relevant events. Possible tools to help include native OS logging, such as within Windows Event Viewer, Linux, Audit, syslog, journald. These collect OS level logs including logins, file access, system event, and support custom log tuning. cloud logging, such as those provided from AWS CloudTrail, Azure Monitor, Google Cloud Logging. These collect audit logs for cloud activity, including API calls, identity access and configuration changes. Endpoint and server agents such as Wazar, NXLog, Sysmon. These provide enriched logging at the host level and capture process activity, file access, and registry changes. And network device logging from tools such as Cisco Syslog, Fortinet, Palo Alto logging. These capture firewall, router, and switch activity. It includes IP traffic, port usage, and access attempts. Safeguard 8.6. Collect DNS query audit logs. This comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard requires organizations to collect DNS query audit logs on enterprise assets where it is appropriate and supported. DNS, or Domain Name System, queries are fundamental to Internet and network communication as they resolve domain names to IP addresses. Collecting DNS query logs involves recording information about every DNS request made by devices within the organization, including what domain was queried, when the request was made, and from which system the request originated. Why is this safeguard important? 1. Early threat detection. DNS is commonly used by attackers for communication with command and control servers or data exfiltration. Monitoring DNS queries can help identify any such malicious behavior early. 2. Incident response and forensics. DNS logs provide a trail of activity that can help security teams understand what happens during a security incident, including which systems tried to access which domains. 3. Anomaly detection. Unexpected or rare domain queries may indicate the presence of malware or unauthorized software. 4. Policy enforcement. This helps enforce acceptable use policies by identifying queries to inappropriate or high-risk domains. 5. Compliance and auditability. Many regulatory standards recommend or require DNS logging as part of broader logging and monitoring efforts. Effective DNS query audit logs should include the timestamp of the query, source IP or device name, queried domain name, DNS response, for example, IP address or failure, query type, for example, A record, quadruple A record, CNAME, text. Possible tools to help include Windows DNS Server logging. This enables DNS query logging via DNS debug logs or advanced audit policy. Bind for Linux DNS servers supports query logging via named.conf custom log formats. Cisco Umbrella. This is cloud-delivered DNS security that logs and blocks malicious DNS queries. Cloudflare Gateway is a DNS resolver and filtering service that provides detailed logs and analytics. AWS Route 53 resolver query logs. This logs DNS queries made by VPC resources to CloudWatch or S3. Safeguard 8.7. Collect URL request audit logs. Comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard calls for organizations to collect audit logs of URL or Uniform Resource Locator requests made by enterprise assets, where appropriate and technically supported. These logs record details of web activity, such as which URLs are accessed by users or systems, when they were accessed, and from which devices or IP addresses. Collecting URL request logs can be done through web proxies, secure web gateways, firewall appliances, endpoint agents, or browser security tools. Why is a safeguard important? 1. Threat detection. Monitoring URL requests can uncover signs of phishing, malware downloads, or connections to known malicious sites. 2. Incident response and forensics. Detailed URL logs support investigations by showing exactly what web content was accessed and when. 3. Policy enforcement. URL logs can reveal violations of acceptable use policies or attempts to access prohibited content. 4. Behavioral analysis. This helps identify unusual web browsing behavior or access to rarely used domains that may indicate compromise. 5. Compliance requirements. Some regulatory frameworks require web activity monitoring and logging for systems handling sensitive data. Effective URL request audit logs should capture the full URL accessed, date and time of the request, user or device making the request, source IP address or hostname, HTTP method, for example get or post, the response status code, for example 200.403.404, and the user agent string such as browser or device information. Possible tools to help include secure web gateways such as Zscaler Internet Access, Cisco Umbrella or ForcePoint Web Security, next generation firewalls such as Palo Alto Networks Next Generation Firewall, Fortinet FortiGate, Checkpoint Next Generation Firewall, endpoint solutions such as CrowdStrike Falcon, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint or Symantec Endpoint Protection, proxies and filtering tools such as Squid Proxy and Bluecoat Proxy SG, cloud monitoring such as Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, Google Chronicle, and AWS Network Firewall plus Flow Logs. SIEM integration such as Splunk, Elastic, QRadar, and Logarithm centralize, analyze, and provide alerts on URL logs from multiple sources. Safeguard 8.8 collect command line audit logs. Comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard requires organizations to collect audit logs of command line activity on enterprise systems. This includes tracking commands executed via PowerShell, Bash, Command Prompt, or remote terminals, or other scripting environments used for system administration and automation. Logging this activity enables organizations to understand exactly what actions were taken on a system, especially important for detecting and investigating malicious or unauthorized behavior. Why is this safeguard important? 1. Detecting malicious behavior. Attackers often use command line tools during attacks, for example PowerShell for fileless malware, scripts for privilege escalation. Logging commands helps detect these actions. 2. Forensic investigations. When an incident occurs, command line logs can reveal exactly which commands were run, when, and by whom. This is crucial for root cause analysis. 3. Insider threat monitoring. Identifies potentially dangerous behavior by legitimate users, such as attempts to bypass security or access unauthorized data. 4. Audit and compliance. This supports security auditing and compliance by showing administrator and script activity over time. Effective command line audit logs should capture the full command string executed, user or process that initiated the command, timestamp of execution, the source, whether it was local or remote session, execution content, for example admin, user or script, exit code or result if it is available. Possible tools to help include Windows logging, PowerShell logging for module and script block logging, captures detailed PowerShell command execution including obfuscated commands, Windows event logs, for example event ID 4688, logs process creation including CLI commands, and sysmon from sysinternals, monitors process creation and command line arguments with granular detail. For Linux logging, Audit or the Linux Audit Framework tracks command line usage including who executed what and when. Syslog plus bash history records shell activity and logs it to central systems. Tlog, the terminal session recorder with support for remote shell logging. Endpoint detection. CrowdStrike Falcon monitors CLI activity for threat detection and incident response. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint detects and logs suspicious command line use on Windows systems. Elastic Agent and Beats ships command line data from endpoints to Elastic SIEM. Remote admin tools. Session recording, for example Devolutions, Beyond Trust, Teleport, records remote terminal sessions with command line visibility. Safeguard 8.9. Centralized audit logs. Comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard focuses on centralizing the collection, storage, and management of audit logs from across the enterprise. Logs should be sent to a centralized logging platform, commonly a Security Information and Event Management or SIEM system, or a log management solution for consolidation, correlation, monitoring, and retention. The goal is to ensure visibility into events across systems in one place, as outlined in the organization's audit log management policy. Why is this safeguard important? 1. Improved threat detection. Centralized logs make it easier to correlate events across systems and detect suspicious activity that may go unnoticed when logs are siloed. 2. efficient incident response. Investigators can access logs from all relevant systems in one interface, speeding up root cause analysis and response time. 3. Log integrity and retention. Sending logs to a centralized and controlled environment helps protect logs from tampering and ensures that they are retained in accordance with policy and compliance requirements. 4. Operational efficiency. This reduces complexity in log analysis by aggregating multiple sources with uniform search, analysis, and alerting tools. 5. Compliance and auditability. Many regulatory requirements such as PCI DSS, HIPAA, ISO 27001 require centralized and protected log collection with defined retention periods. What logs should be centralized? Authentication and access logs, system and network events, firewall and IDS or IPS logs, application activity logs, DNS, URL and command line audit logs, and endpoint detection logs. Possible tools to help include SIEM platforms such as Splunk, IBM QRadar, Microsoft Sentinel, Elastic SIEM, or Logarithm. Log management tools such as Graylog, SolarWinds Log Analyzer, Manage Engine Event Log Analyzer. Cloud native tools such as AWS CloudWatch Logs, Azure Monitor, Google Cloud Logging. Log forwarding agents such as NXLog, FluentD, Logstash, Beats, and security appliances and endpoint tools such as firewall logs from Palo Alto or Cisco, for example, and EDR or XDR logs such as those provided from CrowdStrike Sentinel-1. Safeguard 8.10 Retain Audit Logs comes under the Protect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The Safeguard focuses on the importance of retaining audit logs for a minimum of 90 days across enterprise assets. Audit logs are crucial for tracking security-relevant events, including access to systems, user activity, and interactions with sensitive data. These logs serve as an essential tool in detecting security incidents, conducting forensic investigations, and demonstrating compliance with various regulatory standards. Key requirements are 1. Retention period of 90 days. Ensure that audit logs are retained for at least 90 days to provide adequate time for reviewing logs and identifying potential threats. 2. Cross-enterprise coverage. The logs should cover all relevant enterprise assets, including servers, workstations, network devices, and cloud service. 3. Access control for logs. Logs must be protected from tampering, unauthorized access, or deletion, ensuring their integrity for security analysis. Why is the safeguard important? 1. Incident detection and response. Retaining logs allows security teams to trace back incidents and perform proper investigations when a breach is suspected. Logs can help identify the timeline of an attack and the methods used. 2. Forensics and root cause analysis. In case of a security incident, audit logs provide detailed data that is necessary for forensic investigations to determine how the attack occurred and which systems were affected. 3. Regulatory compliance. Many industries are subject to regulations that require organizations to retain audit logs for a specified period. Non-compliance could result in penalties or loss of customer trust. 4. Security assurance. Logs help to identify suspicious activities, unauthorized access, or misconfigurations that could lead to vulnerabilities being exploited. Possible tools to help with this safeguard include SIEM platforms such as Splunk, IBM QRadar, Microsoft Sentinel, Elastic SIEM, Logarithm. Log management and retention tools such as SolarWinds Log Analyzer, Graylog, Manage Engine Event Log Analyzer. Cloud-based logging solutions such as AWS CloudWatch Logs, Azure Monitor, and Google Cloud Logging. Endpoint monitoring tools such as CrowdStrike and Sentinel-1, log forwarding and storage solutions such as NXLog, FluentD, Logstash. Safeguard 8.11 Conduct Audit Log Reviews comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 2. The safeguard requires organizations to regularly review audit logs, at least weekly, to detect suspicious or abnormal activity. This includes identifying unauthorized access attempts, policy violations, or other anomalies that could indicate a potential security threat or compromise. Why the safeguard matters. 1. Early threat detection. Regular log reviews help identify potential breaches or insider threats before they escalate. 2. Incident response. Detecting anomalies early allows for quicker investigation and containment of incidents. Compliance. Many standards, for example PCI DSS, HIPAA, ISO 27001, require regular audit log reviews. 4. Operational insight. Log reviews can reveal misconfigurations, system errors, or performance issues needing attention. Key practices include the following: conduct weekly reviews or more frequently based on risk level. Focus on critical systems, privileged account activity, and sensitive data access. Use automated tools to flag unusual patterns or events, and maintain documentation of reviews and findings for accountability and audits. Possible tools to help include Windows servers with manual event log review, SIEM platforms such as Splunk, IBM QRadar, Microsoft Sentinel, Elastic SIEM, Logarithm, log management tools such as Graylog, Manage Engine Event Log Analyzer, SolarWinds Log Analyzer, cloud logging tools such as AWS CloudWatch, Azure Monitor, and Google Cloud Logging, and automation and analysis tools such as Logstash, FluentD, and Xlog. Safeguard 8.12, collect service provider logs, comes under the Detect Security function and is within Implementation Group 3. The safeguard requires organizations to collect logs from third-party service providers, especially those involved in cloud services or critical business functions. These logs should include key events such as authentication and authorization activity, user management changes, for example, account creation, deletion, or privilege updates, and data lifecycle events, including creation, modification, transfer, and deletion. Why is the safeguard important? 1. Security monitoring helps detect suspicious or unauthorized activity within external services. 2. Accountability and visibility tracks who accessed what, when, and from where across third-party environments. 3. Incident response ensures critical events from service providers are available for investigation. 4. Compliance requirements. This meets logging and monitoring expectations for standards like ISO 27001 SOC 2. Key actions include the following: enable and configure log export in cloud and SaaS services, integrate service provider logs into your SIEM or central log platform, review logs regularly as with internal systems, ensure log data is retained, protected, and searchable. Possible tools to help include SIEM and log aggregators such as Splunk, Microsoft Sentinel, IBM QRadar, Elastic SIEM, and cloud-native logging such as those provided from AWS CloudTrail, Azure Activity Logs, Google Cloud Audit Logs. In this lesson you have learnt the 12 safeguards included in CIS Control 8, Audit Log Management, the implementation group of each safeguard, possible tools to use within each safeguard. In the next lesson I'll take you into Control 9, Email and Web Browser Protections, including recommended safeguards in this control, the implementation group of the safeguards, and some recommendations on tools that you may find useful to help in implementing the safeguards. I look forward to you joining me in the next lesson as we continue discovering the CIS controls. Thank you.